Howdy y'all, I'm not from Texas, but hi anyway. Let's talk about mental health once again, and today's video is going to be about how friends and family of loved ones with depression can help them deal with it in the best way possible. And as I mentioned in the first video, every 1 in 5 Americans deals with a mental health illness, so it's probably pretty likely, based on statistics, that one person has friends and family, wants to help that person, but we aren't really educated on like the best ways to approach someone going through a mental health struggle. And that's okay, it's not your fault. We just literally didn't get educated, and that's the fault of the education system. But that's a totally different topic that we can get into next time. Not next time, another time. But anywho, okay, let's just get into it because that's what you're here for. So the first thing is, instead of saying, don't be sad, it'll be okay, which is probably the most common response that I heard when I was going through a mental health struggle, really involve yourself in what the person is passionate about to help them feel full. So in my first video, I also talked about how, in my perspective, the feeling of depression isn't really sadness necessarily, it's more about emptiness. So in order to overcome your depression, or at least feel better from it, you want to do the opposite of empty, and that's full. I feel like I'm like an elementary school teacher doing like opposite pairings. Anywho, yeah, so you want to make them feel full, and oftentimes people feel full doing what they are most passionate about. So for me, that's definitely dance or something creative, and that really would have helped me, I think, when I went through what I went through in high school, because 1, I'm taking my mind off of it, but 2, I'm taking my mind off of it and filling it with something that I really enjoy. And even if it's like a temporary fulfillment, that still helps in the long run. And if you think, my loved one doesn't necessarily have something that they're passionate about at this moment, which is probably pretty common because that person is feeling pretty empty, if you do know them well enough, and you probably do, think about things that in the past that have made them really happy. It can be really simple, like you can be going to a coffee shop and just like sitting and ordering the newest latte from the barista, or it can be walking outside, and even if it's not what they're like super passionate about, I said super many times, anything that they enjoy will already be good enough. So yeah, involve them in their life and don't just use words, because words can only go so far. So the second thing is, instead of saying something like, we all go through this, your sadness or whatever you're feeling is probably not as bad as you think, you don't really want to trivialize their experience. And yeah, definitely recognize that it's okay if you yourself don't understand. I think a lot of times my friends, they were just so scared to really respond to me because they were worried that they would say the wrong thing and make it worse, and they were just ultimately just a little bit clueless in terms of how I felt, and so they didn't know exactly what to say. But I definitely wasn't expecting them to tell me all the answers, because I myself didn't even know what was really going on. So like, how are they supposed to know the answers? Like my psychiatrist, they don't really have the answers. No one technically really has the answers anyway. So instead, I think what's helpful is to look for resources and examples of people that have gone through what they've gone through, and have made it, through the little darkness tunnel, and have found the light. I think it's helpful because you know that at least someone has gone through exactly what you're going through, and that they have made it out and been okay. And even if that person who has gone through it isn't, you yourself, like the friend, I think that's totally okay. The fact that you're even researching and mentioning people as examples already shows your appreciation. And there are a lot of super successful people that we know in mainstream media that have dealt with depression or mental illnesses, and they're really well known. Some good people to know if you want to say this to your friends. Buzz Aldrin, the man who landed on the moon with Neil Armstrong. More recent example, J.K. Rowling, who writes Harry Potter. And lastly, Degeneres. She really actually openly talks about it in some of her stand-up and on her TV shows, so it's a good reference to tell your friend, because those are real people and they got through it, and your friend, I believe, will also get through it too. Lastly, because I like 3 bullet points, so 3 makes it pretty easy, and setting this happens every video. Okay, instead of letting your friend or loved one figure it out on their own, ask comfortable keyword is comfortable questions to become their supporter. For example, you can say, I just wanted to check in. That makes it sound less imposing, and it sounds like you do care, but you don't want to overpower them. Another thing you can say is, how can I help? And this is really good for people who you don't really know exactly like what the solution is to this person's problem, which is probably everybody out there, because like I feel that too. By saying, how can I help, that person can kind of control the conversation and what way they best need. Another way, kind of similar to that, is saying, I want to help. And I think I want to help might even be better than how can I help, because how can I help? Well, it does give that person kind of the freedom. Sometimes some people feel that when they're given control, like that's control they never really asked for, and then it gets more overwhelming. But by saying, I want to help, you're like putting the power and the decision in yourself. You're saying, I made that choice and you're comfortable with it, and that you're there for the person and you're really steadfast on that belief. And it's okay if you yourself, as I said, don't have the answers, but checking in already makes a world of difference. Like I never ever expected my friends to like cure me, right? But knowing that they were there just made me feel less alone, even though it was a situation like I just couldn't comprehend. At least someone wanted to be there with me to walk through the steps. And I think when it was at my worst, so I'll probably talk about this in another video, but when I was off with my friends, we were on a trip on our own, and I just like basically ran away. That was a very like physical, real world example of me pushing away my friends who cared for me and were actually actively trying to help me, and I literally physically ran away like miles and miles and miles, and it led to a very bad situation where they couldn't find me for a long time, and I almost considered some bad things. But the important reason of why I'm saying this story is that your friend, your loved one, they're probably going to push back at you when you say you want to help, and if you say, you know, what's up, I just want to check in, they're probably going to be like, it's fine. But I think you are smart enough, if you're watching this video, to understand that they're going through something, and if you need more signs, you can watch my first video just to better understand how depression does feel like and what it might look like. But you're watching this video, so I feel like you probably can tell when someone's going through something rough, especially if they're self-harming. You'll see marks on their arms, of course, and I mean, the person's just really different when they're going through something rough. But anywho, they might push back, right? Also, I say anywho a lot. So anytime I say anywho in this video, you can like take a shot or take a shot of water, because hydration is also important. But I was literally about to say anywho again. But if your friends push back, you have to also be just as strong and tell them that, you know, it's okay if you don't want to talk about it, but know that I am here for you. And you have to be the one to actively check in. Your friend's going through hell. Your friend's going through fucking shit, man. And they're not going to be the one probably to keep reaching out because they don't want to be a burden on you. So as frustrating as it is from the friend/family perspective, I've also been on the other side. Like, know that the effort that you put in is really honestly changing that person's life. It's giving them another day, and that at the end of the day it counts for a lot. So yeah, so hopefully this video was helpful. It was a little soundbite of, you know, ways to help friends, family. There are definitely more ways, but I thought these three made the most sense, and yeah, now I'm just talking a lot, so okay, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed talking about mental health again. Please let me know different topics that you guys want to talk about, because I make these videos for you and for those struggling, because this is what I kind of would have wanted when I was going through it. Alright, see you guys next time. The opposite of howdy is there an opposite of howdy? Okay, I'll just say bye, y'all.